There's one draft in recent memory that debunks all of these theories. 2019, Zion Williamson, John Morant. The Knicks picked third, and it went New Orleans, Memphis, New York Knicks. If the NBA draft lottery is rigged, the Knicks end up with one of those two players.
Well, it doesn't have to be rigged every year. It can be rigged at certain times.
Well, I mean,
they probably have to throw them.
The Dallas Mavericks, with roughly a 2% chance of earning the number one overall pick, wouldn't you know it, they trade away Luka. And the team that does that, the team that used to be owned by Mark Cuban, who said, yeah, I wouldn't have allowed that trade to happen. I would call it a fireable offense. I don't know what was going on. That same franchise who trades away Luka to the Lakers ends up with the number one overall pick in Cooper Flagg. Remarkable.
1.8% chance, to be exact. That was the percentage chance for the Dallas Mavericks at 39 and 43 overall to get the number one pick. Coincidence? I don't think so. I think the NBA is rigged on this one.
You do?
I don't fall right into all-in conspiracy theory at all times. I buy a lot of the Patrick Ewing conspiracy theory going to the Knicks. I am buying this too because everyone said immediately, why on earth would you make this move if you're the Dallas Mavericks? And a big-time incentive if you're the Dallas Mavericks is if you got tipped off that, hey, you're going to get the number one pick if you make this move to give Luka Doncic to the biggest market for basketball in the league, to the LA Lakers.
So you only tell the GM and not even the not even Jason Kidd that the trade's happening?
I think the GM just has to keep it quiet and just think like, guys, it's going to get better soon. It's going to get better soon because we're going to have an American star next in Cooper Flagg, and then everything's going to be fine.
Well, you're not the only one to assume that this could happen. LeBron James, whenever he joined the Pat McAfee show and discussed Stephen A. Smith, one of the other headlines, and it was underneath the surface because of all the Stephen A. Smith discussion, was about, well, the NBA, and he was drafted by Cleveland. Here's his response.
Man, during the ball drop, during the lottery drop, Cleveland got the number one pick. I just don't think that was. What a coincidence!
Don't you see?
Wemby with the Spurs.
Oh my God! Let's keep LeBron home. You know what? Patrick Ewing to the Knicks. Derrick Rose to the Bulls. But I understand the assignment, guys. I had to make sure that I had to do my part.
There's one draft in recent memory that debunks all of these theories. 2019, Zion Williamson, John Morant. The Knicks picked third, and it went New Orleans, Memphis, New York Knicks. If the NBA draft lottery is rigged, the Knicks end up with one of those two players.
Well, it doesn't have to be rigged every year. It can be rigged at certain times.
Well,
they probably have to throw the people off their scent occasionally, and they said, hey, the Knicks, we gave you one back in the early 80s with Patrick Ewing.
The Knicks
we're not going to give you another
R.J. Barrett.
Yeah, we're not going to give you another one. Can't do it twice.
Of those three.
Look, I don't think that it's like every year the assignment is let's go 1 through 5 of the top 4 or 5 players are going to go, or give a certain market one player. But if LeBron James is saying this, and we take a lot of shots at LeBron James knows the NBA. It knows the business of the NBA as well as anyone else.
No. And there's a reason why he went back home.
He didn't just go with him. He went with Patrick Ewing, Derrick Rose, the Bulls. Sure. Other examples also. He's like, I think we know the assignment here.
So the Mavs trade away Luka. They end up with the number one overall pick. The Cavs won the lottery when LeBron left. The Pelicans won it twice, when CP3 left and when AD left. And in CP3, that Chris Paul trade, he was initially going to the Clippers, and the NBA blocked that, and he ends up with the Lakers. There are references to this. This is also just the system that doesn't prop up or help the worst teams every single year. And it's a draft, quite frankly, that is so top-heavy every single year that, it ends up being a crapshoot anyway, is how I view it. I mean, Cooper Flagg's going to be really good. But it's not like no one's celebrating, the second pick was rigged too. The second pick's never rigged. It's always the number one overall pick. When, it wasn't, the lottery's rigged for the top 3 this year. It's just the luck of the draw. And this is the system that doesn't help. Like, if you're the worst teams in the NFL, you're going to end up getting the best opportunity to select the best player. no matter the market size. And, if it's about market size, there are other examples where the larger market ends up not having the luck of the draw. It does happen, but it also doesn't happen. And we weren't clamoring about this last year.
Well, no, look, I don't think it's rigged every year. I think it's rigged this year. I think it's rigged in the Ewing year.
Why would it be rigged this year?
I think it's rigged in the LeBron James year.
Why would it be rigged this year?
Because the Dallas Mavericks did the league a solid by getting Luka Doncic paired with LeBron James in L.A. in the biggest market with the biggest franchise in the league and out of Dallas. And in return, they were granted the number 1 overall pick. They were given a heads up that they were going to get that lottery ball. By doing that, and Nico Harrison then knows he's going to draft Cooper Flag. Well, and Hutton, you know me. You fall more into conspiracies than I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely buy this conspiracy. At least this one instance, the league is rigged. I believe it.
So you heard LeBron on the lottery. Here's Brandon Tierney earlier today on Don't At Me.
NBA draft lottery fixed?
I mean, you have to think that it is, right? I mean, I'll tell you, man, the NBA is a fucking mess. It really is. I mean, I love it. I know we're talking Knicks, we're talking possibly Knicks Pacers, but the NBA has really turned into a circus. I think it's hard not to think that it's not that something wasn't manipulated along the line to maybe, throw a piece of meat to those crazy Maverick fans who were still pissed off from the Luka deal. I would say probably.
Since when did the NBA care about the Dallas Mavericks all of a sudden?
Well, they don't care about the Mavericks. They care about Luka in L.A.
Well, but Luka in L.A.
about the Lakers.
Luka in L.A. got them, they're in the playoffs and then they're not. You could care about L.A. You could prop up the Lakers and give them a higher pick if you wanted to.
Well,
if they don't make the playoffs, they'll end up in the lottery.
Yeah, again, they care about the Lakers having star power. So the return on the investment is we're going to do this thing that appears to be dumb, but if you say yes to it, then we're going to give you the number 1 pick.
I just look at it as a dumb move by Nico Harrison. Nico Harrison, who sat at the presser afterwards and admitted he didn't realize that the fan base was going to like Luka as much. And Jason Kidd is sitting there going, what in the world is going on here? I mean, the dysfunction of that whole trade discussion. The only inside job that was going on was the fact that we sat here the next day and go, you couldn't open this up to other teams and try to get a better offer than what you received in return. It was a one-way trade that ends up, it saves Nico Harrison's job potentially by at a 2% chance ending up where didn't they have a play-in game at the very end of the year to get in?
Yeah, and they lost.
They lose that game, and AD's banged up. He's always banged up.
I mean, honestly, the only thing stopping me from believing this conspiracy theory is that I don't know that I buy that Nico Harrison is smart enough to pull it off.
Well, just
that he would be that clever
to be used
to
that
work
way.
out a deal with Adam Silver, or Adam Silver works out a deal, and he would know how it was going to pay off. Like, I don't fully buy that he's smart enough to do that. So that's the one thing stopping me from going all in on believing it.
And then there's those who believe the NBA the NFL should adopt the NBA's draft model. I don't buy this.
That's dumber than hell.
The NBA needs to adopt the lottery system so much more fun than a bunch of sad-ass teams stumbling into position in Week 18. So the other viewpoint of the NFL has it wrong, which I think the NFL is just fine. What the NFL has done is they have stacked divisional games at the end of the year in order to attempt to prevent tanking. Tanking's going to happen. The suck for luck, tank for Tua. But there are instances where the tank for Tua doesn't end up going your way. You had the Dolphins, who end up with a number 5 pick that year, number 6 pick that year. I think it was 5 overall, I believe. They end up with him, but they, the signs in the stadiums and the chants where the Dolphins are going for the number 1 overall pick, they didn't. They fired their coach the following season. I mean, again, it ends up working itself out. In this case, the worst team doesn't end up getting the best player.
No.
And that ends up hurting the smaller markets. And overall, that hurts the interest of the league. What the league didn't want, the league absolutely, I don't think it's as much about getting him in Dallas, keeping him out of Charlotte. When's the last time we discussed the Charlotte Hornets?
Or Washington.
Or Utah.
I mean, go down the list of teams. Now, he had the Mavs had the 12th best odds to win this. Okay. Let's go with this. NFL needs to do this thing. It's stupid.
Yes.
All right. It's the league that doesn't need it at all because everybody loves the NFL draft. Love college football. Love the NFL. They love the marriage of the two of the draft. You don't need to gin up interest in it with something like the draft lottery. So Daniel Jeremiah, I think, posted, other NFL people. You watch this NBA draft lottery and you think, man, that's exciting. And there's some intrigue there for one night with this draft, but the NFL doesn't need it. Let me give you the what would equal out to the 12th best odds. The Dallas Cowboys would have had the number 1 overall pick this year. They drafted Tyler Booker from Alabama, and the Dallas Cowboys would have had their pick of going quarterback and moving on from Dak Prescott, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, great players to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, can you imagine America's team winning out as the 12th best odds for the number 1 overall pick and what we'd be talking about with the NFL, all the scripted talk about the NFL? That's why it's ridiculous. The NFL doesn't need it. I'm fine with the NBA draft lottery for the NBA and for the NHL, but the NFL does not need it at all.
Yep. And
they're good.
And it doesn't depend on your market needing a little luck to end up getting the number 1 pick or the number 2 pick. If you suck, you have the best opportunity to allow yourself to grow around a superstar player or a quarterback. And the NFL runs laps around the NBA. If they felt like the lottery system was the best way to get the best quarterbacks in the big markets and then keep Kansas City and Green Bay away from the superstar quarterbacks because it's going to hurt their league, they embrace that. That helps the league. The smallest markets are the ones winning right now across the league. Buffalo and Kansas City. Green Bay is right there in the NFC. And you still have your large markets that pull the numbers too. Philadelphia and Dallas are opening the season for a reason.
And it's also
the best quarterbacks in KC.
Well, it's also the nature of the two sports. I mean, it's 17-game season versus 82.
Sure.
So in the NBA, you don't want a team that's tanking at game 40 on because they're really bad, and you got 42 games to worry about a team tanking because it's just going to be slotted by overall record. So they're avoiding that with the NBA lottery, the draft lottery, where you don't really know what's going to happen, as we saw last night.
Nothing is random in the NFL. In the NBA, there's some randomness to the number 1 overall pick. And Chad, I mean, you agree with me? It's like, if you're going to rig this, there has to be more than one player that can help a franchise. So you set up the number 2 pick and the 3 pick. Do we have the draft order again on what ended up here with the percentages?
Well, I know.
Here we go, right here.
Some of the worst teams got like 5th and 6th where they're picking.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, like Utah and Washington, Charlotte, Philadelphia ends up 3rd, but look at their records. 39 and 43. San Antonio gets 2nd, but no one's mentioning them. Philadelphia
17 wins for the Utah Jazz.
17 and 18 and 18 for Washington. Now the NHL also has this model. Right down the street, Nashville Predators, based on percentage, should have ended up with the number 3 pick. They're picking 5th, but they had a chance to pick 1st. So, I mean, it's no one ever says the NHL draft is rigged.
Well, and also we're caught up in this in large part because Cooper Flagg is going to be the number 1 pick.
That's right.
If this was the Michael Olowokandi draft, when he went number 1 out of Pacific, no one would give a shit.
But Michael Olowokandi was propped up as the next savior.
Yeah, maybe for a little bit. But you see my point. Like, it's not. This is more of a slam dunk. All right, this guy is marketable. He's a great player. He's going to be a superstar in the league.
That's Zion.
That's the belief.
That's my thing. Is you could put Zion in New York.
Zion can't stay healthy. Is his problem?
No, but in college it was one and done, and it was. I mean, he had a shoe deal. He's from Duke. That was it's the same hype.
Yeah.
And he ends up in New Orleans. Ja ends up in Memphis, and New York's picking 3rd. That was. I mean, we have New York fans New York friends who are fans. They were begging. They were like, "Here's our chance to get relevant again," because they hadn't. They hadn't been. It's time to get back on national TV.
Adam Silver inherited the deal they made for Patrick Ewing from his predecessor, David Stern, and he said, we can't give New York a second one. That's their one.
Here's your guy.
That's their one.
Michael Olowokandi.
Candyman. Hell of a player.
Candyman can.
Can't say that I watched one of his games when he was at Pacific, but certainly saw a lot of highlights of the Candyman leading up to that draft.
The thing is, no one cares about...
By the way, can we go back to that font on the Clippers jersey? That's incredible. That large red name font.
Because his name's so large?
Yeah. I'm a fan of that. Let's go back to those jerseys. They may still wear them. There have been some atrocious uniform combos in this. I've never seen anything worse than the vomit that was on the court in Indianapolis when the Pacers and Cavs played.
What did they do
this past weekend? I'm like, I can't recognize either team, and I can't think of picking a worse two-team uniform combo to represent the Cavs and the Pacers than whatever the hell that was they were wearing the other night. That was awful. Not even Tyler Castle can defend those uniforms for the Cavs.
Just keep it.
Go back to the old Richfield
go
Coliseum
back.
jerseys. I want the Brad Doherty era Cavs jersey. Craig Elo. Give me the Craig Elo look for the Cavs and get the hell out of the way.
Here's from the Ringer, Bill Simmons, his reaction and a prediction about this NBA draft lottery from back in March.
This was just a hilarious outcome. I couldn't believe it when they leapt into the top 4, and it's just, we go to commercial and it's like, come on. Dallas isn't going to win this. Come on. There's no way. There's no way this is going to be the outcome. Stop it. Come on.
You're the son of a who said that this was all going to happen back in March.
I'll make a prediction because we saw this in 2011 when Cleveland miraculously won the lottery the year after LeBron left. I just think Dallas wins the lottery now. I'm going to bet on it.
No.
I'm going to bet on it on FanDuel.
No.
Yeah, I'm betting on it.
Way.
Dallas wins the lottery.
No way.
Yeah. This is
absolutely not.
We got safe basketball in Dallas. Oh, they got Cooper Flag. Everything's okay.
Well, so I love the fact that he predicted this.
Pretty damn good from Simmons.
Everyone thought that Dallas was going to be awful whenever they traded Luka and got AD. Like they thought everyone's turned on the Mavs. Everyone's crapping on them.
They were awful.
And the fact that you had the team that was just, and the coach who didn't know, and that they would have a better than 2% chance of getting the number 1 pick. That would also be, in theory, why Simmons would want to bet on Mavs getting the number 1 pick. Would he bet a 2% chance? Maybe a 3.
1.8 is what it came down to. I'm trying to find the record. The overall record after trading Luka, they were 26-23. I think when the trade happened, they started 13-20 after that, and it got worse from that point on.
Well, they still up a game or two. Out of the postseason at the very end of it. Again,
they were a team seen as possibly a contender in the West before
they were.
Move.
No, they were. They were. That also says how
and then
bad
they were
the
not.
Bottom of the playoffs are.
Let me say this too on the whole Luka thing. For the people that argue, we're not going to know for a while, they're not wrong. I mean, if they go out in the first round of next year's playoffs and Luka gets hurt a bunch, then, I don't know what the Mavs are going to end up with. Cooper Flag, if this was really a deal, and Cooper Flag turns out to be great, then Nico Harrison looks smarter in the end. But it's just impossible to see that logic right now when you trade away a star that's beloved like Luka, that was that productive, that got that team to the NBA Finals. And then to see that precipitous drop-off from that point on, it's tough to see the logic.
So the logic was, if you're trying to play devil's advocate, that he was overweight and that he liked to party too much, and you didn't want to give him the $300+ million contract. J.J. Redick's referencing how the team needs to get in shape. He's referencing that as they're eliminated from the postseason. He's being ridiculed for playing his stars too much in the postseason, for wanting to win games. Now, he's got an aging LeBron James. That makes sense why you want to rest him some. But Luka, why take a shot at the star player Luka for playing in the game? Because he's more or less saying the exact same thing that those in Dallas were saying behind the scenes as to why they didn't want to pay him and to why they would trade him. But, here he is vaping. He's a great player.
Is vaping bad for you? I don't know.
He's a great player.
I hear it's a great alternative to smoking cigarettes.
Well, it's his wind stick, I guess.
Yeah.
But he needs to. He clearly needs to drop some pounds because now it's 2 teams that are saying it. But beyond that, he's a great player. And I'm just shocked that they traded him for what they traded him for. It's the return that wasn't equal to the player in the superstar level.
I feel like Luka, and I'm not trying to typecast because they're both just European players.
Yeah.
But I think Luka and Jokic have the exact same body. Like they have the exact same lung capacity.
And exact opposite mentality.
I feel like Jokic probably smokes actual cigarettes, whereas Luka just vapes.
You think he rolls his own?
Yeah, maybe mixes in some Zen.
Rolls, yeah.
Rolls his own cigarette, old school, 1930 style.
Yeah.
They're both great players. I just kind of look at both of their builds and I think these guys are cut from the same cloth, Like they're not on a paleo diet.
No.
Is what I'm saying. They kind of eat what they want, they do what they want, and they go out and they ball.
There they are.
Look at that. I don't need to see all your muscles.
One can play a little defense.
If you can put up 30, 15, and 10,
it speaks for itself.
I don't need to see muscle definition. That's my take on basketball players. And you're never going to see it with these two.
It was Luka smoking hookah.
Okay.
I'm still inhaling something.
We're going to need to have a guest on to explain hookah to me. I still don't really understand what it is. Is it a plant?
Yeah, I gotta guess. It's
plant-based?
It's a smoke that you're inhaling.
Is there a hookah leaf that you smoke?
The smell of hookah annoys me. It annoys me.
Going to smoke a hickory tree? I just don't know what it is.
I mean,
these are the things as someone who's never smoked anything.
I mean,
I don't know anything about it.
Is anyone in the studio have smoked hookah? Okay.
I'm sure Tyler has.
Yeah.
Tyler, what is it? Was it a tree?
How was it?
Is it a plant? Is it a herb of some sort?
It's a gel.
It's a gel? You smoked a gel? Like a Dr. Scholl's insole? Like those type of gel? That doesn't sound healthy. I think gel, I think plastic. And I don't think it's good to smoke plastic.
It's a water pipe. So it's a bong?
It's a gel. Is it natural to the earth?
It says hookahs typically involve heating flavored tobacco with charcoal. And then the smoke is drawn through a water-filled chamber before it's inhaled through a hose. Okay, what I just described.
So hookah is the actual device used to smoke it. I get it now.
Okay, but
I thought smoking hookah was like actually
when
smoking
I said
a plant.
vape, I was corrected and said it was a hookah, and I'm thinking, oh, this must be healthier. No. Let me explain. This is Luka smoking hookah, where it's typically heating flavored tobacco with charcoal, and then the smoke is drawn through a water-filled chamber before it's inhaled through a hose.
That doesn't sound better. Does not sound any better. Man.
I mean, Laramie Tunsil, the poor bastard, tried to do this prior to the draft, and he, fell. But, hookah for Luka is just fine. Hookah for Luka.
AI responses came up with this, Hutton. Common myths about hookah.
Go ahead.
Hookah smoking is, Tyler, take note of this, okay? Hookah smoking is safer than cigarette smoking. This is a myth. Hookah smoking has many of the same health risks as cigarette smoking, and it can be addictive. The other myth, the water filter. This is amazing. This sounds like something our high school buddy would tell us.
Yeah.
The water actually filters out all the toxins of the plastics and the tobacco and everything else. The water cools and moisturizes the smoke, making it feel less harsh. But it does not remove all the harmful toxins.
Oh.
I know that's shocking to Tyler, but it doesn't remove any of it.
So you have higher nicotine inhalation.
It smooths it. It moisturizes the smoke.
Yeah. Sounds very. The way you just described it sounds very bougie.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very cheap.
Yeah.
Right. The whole thing.
It's not something I would expect.
It looks like a bong.
Aristocrats to be doing.
They have hookah bars and stuff.
Oh, they're all over the place. Never been to one.
It's like a health spa.
Don't know anything about it. I like to go get in a nice sweat in the sauna and then go do a nice
hookah
to cool down.
Hookahs for Luka. That's what he does.
He needs to open up
through charcoal.
A chain of hookah lounges. Luka's
hookahs.
Luka hookah. It's $1 billion idea.
Yeah, for sure. Coming up, we've got Chiefsaholic, who's back in the news for being in the slammer. If you're enjoying the show, you can make sure you head over to YouTube and subscribe to the OutKick YouTube channel. While you're there, we hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe, and share as well the post. That way you'll never miss any of our great content. We tell you how many years Chiefsaholics been locked away. And has anyone heard from his attorney? That's next year on Hot Mic.